Hello, everyone. Hello, judges. My name is Isabel from Office AIO, and I'm here to present a cocktail bar in Chengdu, China, called Sage. Our client, Alvin, he's a bartender from Taiwan who had moved to Shanghai to set up a few popular bars with his then employer. And after a few years in Shanghai, he decided to move to Chengdu and establish his own brand from scratch. And his brand vision was to design a creative, oops, forgot to click. His brand vision was to design a creative mixology menu with a signature herbal theme. These botanically inspired and infused cocktails are crafted with equipments such as centrifuge and evaporator, creating clarified drinks that are full in flavor and pure in visual. Office IO was very fortunate to work with Alvin to create and define Sage's spatial identity. And I will begin the presentation by showing you just some of his creations, location of the chosen site, how we came about configuring the space, and the result. Alvin's menu is seasonal, with very specific botanical notes, unique to that specific time of the year. Gin with lychee that are only available in early summer. Gin with pear and Earl Grey distillate from August to October. And his menu to us, when we first came to learn, really embodies true elements of sensibility and elegance, made possible with creativity. Chengdu being the largest city in Western China, with its location much further away from the first-tier cities such as Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, the mild climate and remoteness attracts a lot of young professionals seeking less stressful and more diverse lifestyles. Our client knew he had to locate his bar within the vicinity of a Swire Group developed project called Taigu Li, a retail entertainment-focused pedestrian mall that receives more than 100,000 visitors on a daily basis. And he did find a venue 500 meters away from it on the ground floor of Western International Finance Center, the tallest towers in the district. Tucked behind the tower's main drop-off, in the service lane away from the main road, and very, very hidden from view. Our site consists of 105 meters of interior space, and a little leftover exterior area that we were able to utilize. Between the high-rise towers and a vehicle ramp that leads to the building's underground car park to the left of the picture. We had a footprint of 11 by 9.5 meters, almost a square site with one elevation facing the service lane, a generous 6-meter tall ceiling height. The opposite facade connects the mall interior and 2 long sides adjacent to other shops. We began our design process by looking at various ideas surrounding the brand. Some that resonates with the sense of pureness and methodical process that the brand wishes to embody. The distinct layers of multiplicity with every sip, putting their bartenders' skills and showmanship under the limelight, and the hope to achieve a sense of serenity and snugness that can foster both engaging and lively conversations. Back to our site with the diagram that describes its immediate surrounding. The main road to the right, entry to the site that's parallel to a unsightly car ramp, and a reasonably secluded narrow area just in front of our main facade. The approach to our project and site characteristics help us forming the basic configuration strategy of this almost cubic square site. Though access through a service lane is nowhere near glamorous, but it was at least a private and independent one compared to the noisy mall interior. It was an easy decision for us to locate the front of house along the main elevation. The main space was divided to accommodate different social needs. People who came in groups and wished to socialize among themselves. People who come in fewer numbers and prefer intimate conversations, or happy just being spectators. And those who enjoys chatters and entertainments put on by our skillful bartenders. And then we've introduced heights to these layers, adding a dimensional differentiation for the various drinking atmospheres. And in this process, we've created a focal point and formalized the anchor of the space. Sorry, it's not showing up on judge's screen. Okay, sorry. We've added a series of stepped elliptical profiles that were designed for the raised tiers, taking advantage of the high ceiling space. And this profile was then extruded across following this L-shaped configuration, creating layers of enclosure for the tiers below. And these layers wondrously points to our entrance while encasing the bar along the same axis, allowing autonomous and parallel volumes and intertwining views. This is the final layout showing the prep kitchen to the top left corner, the bar in front of it at the height of the space, overlooking the 3+1 seating zones radiating outwards from it, and the looped circulation that ensures efficient circulation. This is a sectional elevation demonstrating the layers of spaces. The height variation across these layers naturally influence different modes of engagement. This is another section cutting through the interior from another direction. And people are able to see across the room to flow through these chambers and settle wherever that suits their social needs. In this drawing describing the ceiling, you can see the elliptical arches that all share the same vertex and varying co-vertexes that corresponds with the tiered ground. And in the negative ceiling space, we were able to comfortably fit all the services and equipment. The material palette was obviously inspired by the name of the bar and its botanical theme, with various tones of grayish greens, from the speckled terrazzo floor to the green plastered texture wall and the silvery velvet upholstery. Upon arrival, a soft canopy that breaks the harshness of the towers, rescaling this area and draw attention to our facade. And as you step into Sage's interior, a very dramatic view immediately pulling you into the space. A strong symmetry originates from the entry. But as you turn your head, the symmetry fades, and the layering begins to exaggerate the depth of what really is just a really modest space. The arches capping each tier, providing a sense of containment as well as separation. Moods of airiness by the frosted facade, letting in the light while putting up a veil between the two worlds. The view eventually narrows towards the bar, between the fortress of glistering bottles and the upside-down greenery, and finally penetrates through the mirrored backdrop that extends the space infinitely. And I will end this with a few photos that's sent to us by Alvin, showing how they and their clients enjoy the space. Thank you.
I think it's a really amazingly beautiful project. I think I'm just wanted to ask you briefly. You mentioned when you were working with Alvin in terms of defining a new brand. Kind of I think what he saw as the role of interior in his creation of a brand, and I think you spoke a bit about kind of multiplicity of sips. That the cocktail is quite complex in terms of how it has very many ingredients, botanical, otherwise layered into that one. Do you think your interior also has that complexity as a cocktail, or do you see yourself more as the backdrop to the cocktails he's creating?
I think it's the backdrop. You're right. For the cocktails, the people and the drinks, I think, are the center of the space, and that's what a hospitality space should be like for us. I think we create a backdrop that's interesting for people to be in, for them to be able to recognize what the brand is willing to prepare for them, atmospheric-wise.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the arches and why they're stepped? I was intrigued by that.
Okay. We tried many forms that correspond with the L-shaped configuration. Flat ceiling, we had a lot of height to work with for such a small space. And we tried arches, smooth arches, but it just wasn't, it was a bit too plain from the trials that we did. And then because we have the steps, so we thought maybe we can introduce the stepping to the arches, and that creates a really nice lighting effect as well at night.
Right, I was going to say, can you talk a little bit more about the lighting? Because obviously that's a very important part of a bar. I know you up lighting into those from that. I was trying to understand what the trough was that was running around. Are you down lighting there? And
we have both. Can I have the slide up again?
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, if you go back one. So,
we did a lot of lighting. Well, we worked with the lighting designer, but we came up with the lighting scheme ourselves. So the downlight is really it's a very dim light that lights up the seat, and also during maintaining the space. But most of the time, it's lighting upwards.
Right.
So we did. Oh wait, let me go back.
Kind of quite like that as a graphic, the first one you showed, yeah.
So yeah, the lighting designer used our model to simulate the lighting effect.
So interesting, and so obviously you're getting more light up in the steps of
yes, it shows the profile better. Yeah, because with the smooth vault, you can't see the lighting effect as much.
My first question, I have two. My first question is a bit of a follow-up from the lighting, because acoustics is obviously the other sort of big consideration when it comes to bars. So I'd love to know a bit more about the acoustics here. And my second question is just, in a city that's so saturated with food and beverage, how, when you started the project, what was the thinking about the differentiator for this one?
First question. Oh, can I answer this second question first?
Of course.
It's a very busy city, very noisy, lots of young people. But the clientele that our client preferred to attract is slightly the quieter crowd. It's kind of an in-between, but after you finish your dinner, this is the place he wants these bar hoppers to be. A quiet place for quiet conversations before they go to a noisy environment. And I guess the recipes that he has, it's targeted more towards the female crowd. So I guess there's, in terms of material and some of the details, is maybe that's what we've been designed towards. And the acoustic question, we did not have the budget to hire a acoustic engineer on this, but we know that if we have a very square space with flat surfaces, it will be a very bad acoustic environment, and it will be a really noisy one. And that's why we have these channels or chambers or vaulted ceilings to kind of cap each layers. So that's my answer. Thank you.
It's very interesting you say that you're targeting a female crowd.
Yes.
What does that mean? That the women take the initiative and say take their boyfriends or their other friends there? They are.
Or amongst girls.
So what
I
about
think.
all the boys left outside?
No, the boys, they do come in as well. But I guess the recipe that Alvin created, the flavors and the presentation,
They're sweet, are they? That's a bit old-fashioned, isn't it? Having sexist drinks.
very traditional, tradition-minded client. Well, I
Yes.
hope he give us another brief for
No,
a
but anyway,
male-orientated bar.
I think it's really beautiful, and I think you've used a very clever device to make it feel bigger and more mysterious than it would do. You know, because if you could take your plan and you could just kind of repeat it 4 times and make a bigger, like tiles, that to make a bigger space, as though that it's like a picture frame, like 1/4 of a picture frame. And I think that's really clever spatially. And you carry it through absolutely resolutely into the bar and into the corner. The bit that I was slightly worried about is the bit where the bottles are, where, you know, you put all this kind of focus on the corner, but that doesn't seem to be a problem. My question is, when the groups of people, girls and boys, let's say, they go in, are they expected to go to the bar like a pub in England, or are they seated and then a waiter comes to take their order? Because the consequence of this layout is that the bar is quite difficult to get to.
They are met at the door, the sliding door. So there will be a waiter at the door waiting for them, and depends on how many people there are and where they want to sit. It's not a very busy bar usually, so people can choose where they want to locate themselves within the bar. And it really, like I said, it depends on their mood. If they don't want to talk to anyone, they will probably want to sit further away from the bar. But if they like the look of the bartender or the show that they're putting on, they will naturally want to walk closer to it or be seated
But
closer
they can
to
be
it.
served at a table, but with a menu and all of that.
Yeah, we have a QR code that you just scan and you can see all the menus. Yeah. And they bring the drinks over.
Congratulations on a very pretty project.
Thank you.
And I want to compliment you on how cleverly you made the layout. My question is a bit in the same order as Nigel's, because you started telling about how these drinks are made and the effort that's put into it, and you can hardly see it. So I wondered, what's the reason you put the bar so far away?
Well, we want to maximize the seating. We were able to achieve 60 seats in this space. It's far away from the entry, but it's tiered and it's at the height of the space. So even when it's full house, you're able to see the bartender making the drinks. The details of the drinks are actually more described to them through pictures by the waiters if they want to know more about it, or they're more than welcome to walk up to the bar and talk to the bartender and have drinks tailor-made for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.